As for me personally, I'm totally sunk in, and I think a lot of folks were so used to seeing a landing and then just turning right around and processing another space shuttle. But we had a beautiful landing this morning, and we're happy to have the crew of Atlantis here back with us.
And now it's time, really, with this, the ending of this program, to start looking ahead, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we still have the International Space Station going on. We have 6 people up there working around the clock and conducting research. They'll be there at least through 2020.
And you know, I think a lot of people forget that out there, that there is. In fact, we saw it go overhead.
We did.
Just before, Manita, just before the shuttle landed here, we watched the International Space Station, a dot in the sky like a star, just go across the horizon. So, you know, and just think that just, what, a day and a half or 2 days ago is when the shuttle left the space station to begin its journey back to Earth. So it was a spectacular morning here. We always use that word bittersweet. Perhaps it's overused. But then again, in this setting, I don't think it is overused. It is bittersweet as the shuttle program ends and NASA begins to look to the future. Anita?
So, well, John, it certainly was bittersweet. I don't think we can overuse that at this point, because it defines it so perfectly, this emotion that is being felt by not just Americans, but people around the world. But what has the space program meant for Americans?
Okay, and you answer that. I mean, the space program's meant a lot to Americans. The shuttle program's meant a lot, right? I mean, besides
Absolutely.
being an inspiration and an iconic vehicle, it's been a lot more than that.
This is what we do as humans. This is what we do as Americans. We explore. We reach out to the unknown, and we do things that have never been done before, and we do that well at NASA. And for the last 30 years, we've been flying this fantastic space shuttle vehicle. You know, when it's on the launch pad, in the launch configuration, there are 2.5 million parts, moving parts, on that space shuttle. It's a very complicated machine, but with that, we built the International Space Station, and we put payloads into orbit. We've even gone and repaired satellites on orbit that had never been done before.
Yeah, that's one of the things we tend to forget, too, is that if it had not been for the space shuttle, you wouldn't have this space station. You could not have built it with any other vehicle than this, because of the huge cargo bay, the ability to carry the big parts up. And you mentioned the Hubble Space Telescope was launched, repaired, serviced repeatedly. In the early days, satellites were captured in orbit by the astronauts and repaired in orbit and put back out in space. So it has been a remarkable vehicle that was perhaps one of the greatest technological achievements in, you know, modern humankind.
Absolutely, but it's also a testament to what we can achieve together.
Anita, that's the sun is finally starting to come up here at the Space Center, and the shuttle has disappeared behind the trees, but we'll get a close-up look at her again, that's for sure.
John, thank you so much for that. And we are looking at live pictures of the shuttle as dawn breaks over the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and they are just powering down Atlantis for the last time. Of course, it is the end of the road for NASA's retiring space shuttles. Let's see where they are gonna go next. Atlantis, as we just saw there, just back from its final mission to space, will stay in Florida at the Kennedy Space Center. It was delivered first back in April 1985 and took off for the first time in October of that year. Then we have Endeavour, that has a new home at the California Science Center in Los Angeles. Endeavour was delivered to NASA in 1991 as the replacement for Challenger, which, as you remember, tragically exploded just after liftoff in 1986, killing all 7 astronauts on board. And the third retiring shuttle, Discovery. It will go to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum's Udvar-Hazy Center in Northern Virginia. Discovery has completed 38 missions, more than any of the other vehicles. The president of Somalia is urgently calling on the international community for help as his country struggles to cope with its worst food crisis in 20 years. The U.S. says it is giving an extra 28